Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. It is Local Chat, episode 162. I'm your host, Will Crosby, and joining me this week for the first time is Ian Gibson.
Hi, first time, last time. I gotta go. Nice to see you guys.
He's gotta go, but who's replacing him? None other than David from Save Data.
We're getting rid of Ian? We won today.
We're getting rid of Ian. It's finally happening. The cops have been dispatched and the warrant is signed. Folks, speaking of cop lingo, I had jury duty this week. And it was not the worst thing ever. I was actually resigned to doing it because I'm unemployed. I might as well have something fun to do in my life. But the case got thrown out after the judge had us sit in a room for 6 hours. And take a 2-hour lunch break, and then he came and told us it got dismissed. But the fun part...
it was in person?
It was in person, so I went through all the different selections, and then this part was in person. I was on the actual jury that the state was okay with, and then the defense was still changing people. But one of the guys who was also on the jury was an attorney, and he was telling us afterwards that they think the case was...
That's fucking wild. Why would either side want an attorney on the jury?
He was a business attorney. Like it was a different thing, but also still. But so what he was saying is when the state said they were happy with the panel as a show because it would force the guy to realize this trial was actually happening and go for a plea deal. So that's what happened the next day. He's like pretty sure he went for a plea deal. That's why we're not doing the trial or anything. But the other fun part about not being part of jury duty anymore is you're allowed to tell people about the case now. And what's crazy, it was a criminal case. And this guy, this motherfucker. Was it
Donald Trump?
This motherfucker, can you believe it? His worst crime is he plays a game for 3 hours and then stops playing it. It was Ian. Ian was on trial.
It's not, but you also messed it up because there's no fucking way I play a game for 3 hours and then stop. It's like 2 max. It's like 2 max.
2 max.
Right.
No, it was a stupid case, but it was really annoying because the entire time it was the hottest building I've ever been in my entire life. It was like 80 degrees in that building. And you had to keep...
Oh, no, so hot. 80 degrees.
I mean, 80 inside is...
No, 80 inside when
in
you
New
have...
Jersey.
When it's 30 outside.
Well, I mean, the worst part is the last part.
And also... you had to have all your stuff with you the first day. When you were there. So it's just people, every time they had to get up from the jury box all the way up there with like 2 bags and a giant coat. And it was the worst. And also, they had to, for every single person that got called up to the jury box at one point, were people who didn't do the virtual questionnaire. So the judge and the 2 attorneys had to go into the judge's chambers for every single person who was coming up. And I just wanted to scream.
Are you... They went into the judges?
Yes.
That's fucking stupid, because at mine, they just had them stand at the desk, like in front of the judge, like in conference, and be like, yes, no, and then excuse him or whatever.
Awful. Absolutely awful.
Fucking wild.
Anyways, that was my jury duty. Happy to have served. Glad it's over with. I respect the justice
like
system.
3 times, but I never actually got to a jury. So
I was so like ready to do it. I thought it was gonna happen. I was like kind of looking forward to it.
I went through a full nine-day medical malpractice civil trial as a juror, and it was fun. It was so fun. It was so fun that at one point I got so invested in the trial that I almost said objection from the juror's box.
You told me about that.
It was asked and answered. It was a valid objection, but I was just like so into it that I just barely caught myself. And then I was like, okay, calm down, buddy.
I did look up.
It was a lot of fun.
I was like, I wonder where 12 Angry Men is streaming. I could watch that right now. Yeah, the case wasn't even cool. It was a gross guy with kids stuff. And I was like, I'm glad I didn't have to sit through that with like evidence and stuff. So that was the like most relieving part. It's like, I don't want anything to do with that, please. Which was, sorry, not to belabor this, which was funny to say what you were saying, Ian, because I got into it a little bit when I knew what criteria the state was looking for, which was people with younger kids. And they kept dismissing the young guys who were up there. Like every time a young kid would come up and it's like, oh, I live with my parents and stuff like that, they would immediately dismiss. And then the defense kept dismissing like the teachers and stuff. And I'm just like, and he had the classic sticky notes on the on like the juror's box. So each juror's name on a sticky note and like placing them up there. I was like, this feels like a documentary. Anyways, I'll stop talking about jury duty. So I can talk about, what did everyone do for Leap Day? How was everyone's Leap Day? Did we have a good day?
You know, I wanted to do something special. It feels like it'd be great to have a Leap Day tradition, but work is busy and my water heater shit the bed recently, so my Leap Day has been pretty fucking terrible. But 4 years, next 4 years.
4 more
I'll
years,
do
you're
something
saying?
for Leap Day. Yeah, 4 more years. Well, no. no current politician deserves 4 more years, no matter what.
David, did you celebrate?
In a way. So not to get too ahead of ourselves, but a certain game came out today on Leap Day. A Mr. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So I took today and tomorrow off work.
Mudrunner, yeah.
And I've just been playing a lot of that. And I ran some errands, did some doctor appointment-y stuff. So celebrating by not working.
Nice.
That's nice.
That's good. I did 3 crimes because you can get away with everything. It's like the Purge. Do whatever you want on Leap Day. So I robbed the local corner store, invaded a couple people. It was all They all had a laugh.
Multiple multiplayer games didn't function today, and it's hilarious.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Actually, even single player, like Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line didn't work today. it just ceased to function unless you change the date of your console to yesterday or tomorrow.
That's wild. And meanwhile, the Dreamcast I booted up today let me set the date to Leap Day. So yeah, suck on that.
I mean, the systems did fine. It was the games that didn't. And I think there was some EA game that stopped working today too.
Yeah,
I don't remember which one it
was. It the thing Respawn was working on?
I'm just thinking about it.
No, it wasn't a game that was actually out.
That's gotta be. I know this is gonna sound very surface level, but in my head, I'm going through all this stuff at work whenever like, we have problems with GPS calendars because there's a particular type of GPS coordinate provider system that has a reset. I think it's every. Sorry, I'm trying to think about it in my head. It's something like every 2,000 weeks. This number will reiterate. So it's like every 10 to 15 years, whenever that is, everybody's like, oh shit, did we fix that? Are we going to accommodate this? And they like blast out at everything. And my company and plenty of other companies have had problems where we've had GPS devices stop fucking working in the field because this one value like ticked over every 10 years or so. But the thing is, that's something weird. But Leap Day is like, if you're just using like a generic fucking built-in date time library, like it will have Leap Day in it. Like you gotta do some bad fucking architecture to rely on a non-library calendar to make your shit work. Like
whenever I'm programming and making a calendar, I just say 12 months. Each month is 31 days, and I've yet to run into any issues.
Use a library.
I'm joking. I don't actually program.
Just never make your own problem solved.
That's my point. Is like, yeah, it'd be like a built-in library too. It's not like you need to install a third party for it. It's just blowing my brain that people are having problems with Leap Day.
I mean, they don't have. If you make your own engine, you don't have a built-in library. Is part of the problem.
Oh yeah, that's true. But then you made a mistake making your own engine in a way. But it's funny because last March, April, I believe it was a problem for a lot of people. And my company had this problem. We had to scramble for it because last year, Mexico decided that they were going to stop doing daylight savings time in the spring of last year. And they turned that into a law like like 4 or 5 months before it was going to happen. And so if you didn't catch it, then all of a sudden, all your like, if you had anything like out of Mexico regions, et cetera, based on daylight savings time, it was going to start showing the wrong time around like April or whatever when daylight savings time was, because they literally changed what it was normally. So all these libraries had to update, and then you had to update the library, and then you had to test it and double check your code to be like, I'm going to pull the new daylight savings time calendar. And then the wildest fucking thing is, so Mexico got rid of daylight savings time, except for specific cities on the border of the US, like Tijuana, for example, who will still observe daylight savings time along with the US. So it's like, so all of a sudden Mexico,
until California finally stops observing.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like Mexico used to be just like, it's basically just US Central or US Pacific. And now all of a sudden there's like 5 specialty Mexico time zones, and it's fucked. Like that, I can understand fucking that up because it's a complication. It's a change from the normal. Wild stuff.
Damn.
Anyways, happy Leap Day.
Yeah, happy Leap Day, everyone. That's gonna do it for the chit chat section. We chatted and it was fun and I enjoyed it. Moving on here to the games we've been playing. I'm gonna go. Let me hit Ian first because you only played one game this week.
I just why did I play only one game this week?
I don't know. Why did you only play one game this week?
Just being lazy, I guess. Been playing some Balatro. Balatro's great. It's the video poker run-based game, basically. That's kind of the best way to describe it. You're making hands, you're getting modifiers, you're getting jokers. It's still pretty fun. I think I am starting to peter out on it, though, because it really is dependent on you winning a run. You pretty much don't get jack shit if you don't win a run. And, you know, my run success is I've probably done, I don't know, maybe like 40 runs now, and I've won once. And even like hearing other people play, it's not often you win a run. I think if you did one run out of every 5 or 10 that you won, that would be great. But each run can take you 30 minutes if you go all the way through. So it's one of those games where I kind of talked about this earlier, where it's like, it's a run-based game, but for me to really enjoy a run-based game, there needs to be enough to connect run to run to run. Even if it's just a little bit of like, oh, you get to like plus uptick this permanent stat, whatever. And really the only thing that's in Balatro is that you start to unlock more Joker cards or more vouchers because you hit like, oh, you've discarded 4,500 cards total. Here's another voucher you could possibly come across. But I'm starting to tire on the runs a little bit. I don't know. Well, you've been playing it as well. How are you doing?
Yeah, I've been tiring out a little bit. I finally won a run, and then I was telling Karen afterwards that I was just like, you know, I needed to play until I won a run, and now like I don't feel like I have to play it all the time. Like I can play other things. Yeah. Raz is agreeing with me for sure.
I told you he would yell.
He's been playing a shit ton of Balatro. So I'll agree with you there. And I do kind of wish there was that sort of carryover stuff with it. I don't feel like I'm going to dedicate, like, I feel like if that was there, I would be dedicating a lot more time to this game. And I prefer it as a boot up player around. It's like the modern day free cell or solitaire. Like my dad would just always play free,
I can see that.
Like that kind of stuff. Yeah. So that's where like I shuffled it away. So it's like if I just want to pop in for that quick hit, like play a couple runs of Balatro, which wasn't what Vampire Survivors was for a lot of people. So like I feel like that helps a little bit, but it counteracts on the run part. So don't listen to me there.
I do think, you know, I'm glad you brought up Vampire Survivors because I played a lot of Vampire Survivors, but towards the end I was playing it but not enjoying it. And I was pretty cognizant that I was only playing it because it had deliberately placed its hooks into me. You know, you're chasing the numbers, you're chasing that high, you're chasing that feel, and you're like, I'm not actually enjoying playing this anymore. I'm just flat out addicted to these mechanics. And that's not a good feeling, especially when you realize that's what's happening to you. And I think because of that experience, I still like Vampire Survivors, but because of that experience of recognizing when the game is just manipulating you to continue playing it, I'm a little bit more hesitant to keep playing Balatro because I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm not sure I'm enjoying the game anymore. I'm just playing it because it has its hooks in me. But I do have a PSA for those of us who are playing the game. This is something that Dan Reichert pointed out to me. It's going to sound super obvious, but I didn't realize it. Okay, so in the game, there's multipliers. There's chips times multipliers.
So there's the red ones.
And so some cards... Yeah. So basics are you have a hand, you got 100 points from the cards, and you have a 3 multiplier, so it's 100 times 3 is 300 chips total, whatever. The multipliers that you get from jokers and card bonuses, etc., there's 2 types, right? There's a plus multiplier and there's a times multiplier. And the other thing is your jokers, you can rearrange your jokers and they go off left to right. And so again, as obvious as it sounds, it's not something I picked up on because there's a lot going on in the game. If you have a times joker, you want it at the end. So that way it's like +3, +3, +3 times 2 at the end of your jokers instead of having it at the start of your jokers, because then the overall multiplier will be less. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's how math works.
Yeah.
I think Will's having the revelation too.
I thought those cards were plus 1.5 multiplier.
There's 2 kinds.
No,
I
know.
There's a plus multiplier and there's a times multiplier.
Yeah, I don't think I ever realized there was a times, because there's a lot of cards I thought were terrible because I'm like, why is it only adding 0.25 or plus or 1.5? Yeah. So I think a lot of those cards I thought were terrible is what you're saying, is the, because I knew about the rearranging, because I would rearrange. There's that one card that is like the total of all the jokers time is the equal to the multiplier, or like this does the right card next to it. But I did not realize there's times.
Yeah, and then you can see the jokers fire off left to right.
Yeah.
So you always want your pluses to the left and you want your multiplier to be towards the end, so that it goes plus 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 times 2 at the end. And once I realized that, I was having better success in my run. So you at first I thought you only rearrange the jokers because of ones that are like to my left or whatever, but you really do want to rearrange them because it will impact your scoring order.
Oh, and I'm stupid because I had that one card that you do every card twice, or it redoes the card, the bonuses to the card, and if you have to put that all the way to the right so it can do the whole jokers, then redo it.
Well, no, because that won't fire your jokers. That'll fire your normal cards. But you would want to do that before the multiplier so that it counts all your cards twice and then multiplies it, instead of multiplying it at the beginning and then the cards get counted again.
But what I'm saying is it wasn't. Well, now I gotta check, because I don't think it was doubling the even cards, but it was doubling the heart cards because the heart was to the left of it.
Well, we may be talking about a different joker, but I think there's the joker I'm thinking of double counts your playing cards, the cards in your hand, not your jokers. But you may be talking about one that doubles your jokers.
I'm talking about the fizzy bottle.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one yet.
Yeah,
but anyways, small tip. There's so much going on in this game that it's cool that you can, in a way, it's cool that I missed that because there's so many different little math things going on. And it's like, oh, I could dive into this. Like, I don't touch any of the fucking spectral cards. At some point, I probably will and do a run or two around those. But there's like so many cool little different mechanics in here that you can ignore them and be okay, or you can dive down that path and really take advantage of them.
Yeah. It's fun. It's a good run. Like I said, it's a good run based game. Yeah, I enjoy it. Well, thanks for talking about that, Ian. We love you and your multipliers in Balatro. David, please tell me about this birthing process you've gone through. It's a rebirthing process. Tell me how that is. Who eats the placenta?
Oh, Jesus.
Who's Tom Cruise?
Not him, but...
And then... yeah, let's go for it. Wait, you're muted. Oh, because of the cat.
I was muted because of the cat, yeah. I was going to say, how do I get the image of Tom Cruise eating a placenta out of my brain? Because you did that to me. If you
just have him... Never mind.
Scrub that out. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going great so far. I'm 8 hours in. It's been out for less than 24 hours.
Jeez.
I put in like 3 hours last night, and then the rest I put in today. So far, I am loving the game a lot. I have really only one complaint, And this is not a spoiler. His name is Chadley. He's from the first game. If you played it, he's a little VR kid, like you get some materia and stuff from. He's annoying as shit and talks to you absolutely all the time. And I wish I could chuck him off a cliff or mute him or just skip everything that he says. Jesus Christ. Other than that, though, having a great time. The opening to the game, not what I expected. Don't want to spoil it for people who haven't started yet, but starts on an unexpected note that I thought was pretty cool. Goes immediately into the Nibelheim demo after that. So if you played that, that's like not quite the first thing, but pretty much immediately after. And then from there, I'm in original Final Fantasy VII world. I'm in like the City of Calm, which is like insanely built up from what it was in the game, where it used to be like 5 buildings and now it's a whole castle town with like a shitload of stuff. This game just has so much in it and is incredibly beautiful and plays just like Remake, which played well except better because they added a bunch of new like synergy moves and stuff that weren't in the Remake, but some of them were in the DLC if you played Intermission or Intergrade, whatever you want to call it. They added they kind of drug that forward and improved it and made it better and everything too. So I'm having a great time. I haven't even left the Calm region yet because it's open world and I've just been doing all the things. And I'm probably going to burn out on that because there's a lot to do. there's so much to do considering I put 8 hours into the game and I haven't left the first region yet. There's a lot. So I'm having a great time. I don't want to talk more about the story because I don't want to say what's changed or different or the same from the original, but it's great. It's great. Love it. I was looking forward to this game a lot. I'm going to play it all weekend. Pretty much nonstop.
You played the original too, right?
Played the original, played Remake, and now playing Rebirth. And Remake, I played the DLC too, and the DLC was great. If you, I think, I don't know if they're still selling it, but if you hadn't played Remake, they basically bundled Remake with Rebirth at no cost.
Nice.
Which is good because although the marketing for this game has been like, you don't need to play a Remake, you can just go straight into Rebirth. Don't do that. You're going to be lost to shit from moment one. You're going to be like, who the fuck's this guy? Who are these people? Who's Sephiroth? Why has he got a big sword? Who's Genova? Who's this guy's mom? Why is she in a test tube? I don't get it. Yeah, so Jill, don't listen to Square. Play Remake and then play this one. You don't have to play Intermission, but it would also be good because that's just straight up fun.
Part of me is wondering if it's time for me to play Final Fantasy VII Remake because I have played all of Final Fantasy Remake in the original Final Fantasy. So I think it's time for me to reward myself by playing Remake.
What do you mean?
The fuck are you talking about?
Final Fantasy Remake only covers a portion of the original Final Fantasy, right? 7, right?
Final Fantasy 7 Remake only... So Final Fantasy 7 Remake only covers the Midgar portion of Final Fantasy
and I've already
7.
completed that portion of Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, but there's a lot more in Remake, so I don't think you can go Final Fantasy 7 original to Rebirth.
No, I'm not going to. I'm going to go to Remake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'll go back and finish the original before I play Rebirth.
Heck yeah, do it.
Oh fuck! So you're good. Okay.
Do it.
So you're doing the original first, but you're stopping the original when the current remake is done.
Yeah.
And then you go back and catch up in Final Fantasy VII original, and then do the
absolutely do it.
How many people in the world are gonna play the games that way? Nobody else except me.
I know actually more than one person who said that.
Oh, damn it! But maybe
you're not alone.
If that deal's still around, I would legit buy all that stuff.
I think it may be in PS Plus now. The remake, or it was for a bit.
I don't think it is. I think it was one of those things that you had to redeem at the time.
Oh no,
Intermission was, I think.
Yeah. That's what it was because that's how I got it. Yeah.
But yeah, you get if the deal's still there, you get Remake plus the DLC plus Rebirth for like $70 or something like that.
That's pretty good.
Which is a very good deal.
I'm in a weird part where I tried to play Final Fantasy VII, the original, like 4 or 5 years ago. And I got to about where Will was, which was like a couple hours into the open world. And I was like, I'm enjoying this, but this game is too old. You know, like I got to the point where I was like, these fights are getting difficult, so I need to level up, but I don't want to just run around the world. And I'm like, it wasn't like
one thing that might help you I'm assuming you were emulating or playing on the original disc.
I was playing on the Switch. The Switch version's great, honestly.
Oh, okay. Because that one you can just cheat too. If you want to see story stuff.
The Xbox one was great because it had the fast forward button, and it had the for random encounters you could do the immediate power up, so you could just like finish it. It was put in to help you grind, which is great. The
one that I like, if I'm just trying, like, I think I used it for 8 since I didn't really like 8 very much, but I was like, I want to finish it. I turned on the thing that heals you between encounters. It's like I don't want to make it like too easy, but like healing between encounters was a big help to help me like actually get the motivation to finish the game.
Yeah. It's just I hit this point where I was like, the old one I was having fun, but it was a bit too old for me. And then Remake came out, and I played maybe the first 5 or 6 hours of Remake, I think last year. And I was like, I am enjoying this, but I also know this is a big game, and I don't want to play this much Final Fantasy VII. So I'm in a very weird position.
Remake's not that big. Rebirth is,
but it's more like 25 hours though.
Yeah.
That's my point. I'm enjoying this, but I was like 5 hours in. I'm like, I don't want to play another like 15, 20 hours of this. And so I'm in this weird position.
Like people you were controlling, or were you just controlling Cloud the whole time?
Yeah, I was swapping. I had no problems with the game. I just wasn't swapping. I knew I was not going to finish it. Yeah. You know, so I'm in this weird position where I want a remaster of Final Fantasy VII. I don't want them to add shit. I don't want them to make the game bigger.
Well, I mean, that's what the Switch version was.
No, but it needs to be like
a middle ground,
like kind of like the Dead Space they did this year, where it's like it's pretty much the same game, but we've just drastically quality of life improvements.
Remake, but
drastically improved
actual remake instead of remake plus weird.
Yeah, exactly. And again, no qualms against any version of the game. It's just that's what I want to do, and it's not there, and I'm a little upset because I can't partake like you guys are partaking. I know I won't enjoy it as much, and so I'm just like,
I think
maybe in 30 years, maybe in another 10, 20 years, they'll make what I want.
I want to say, if I'd have to look into it, I think that they have a classic mode in Remake where like the story is still the weird remake story, but like it changes the combat back to the old system.
Yes, they do have that because I remember.
Yeah, but I don't want
that's in Rebirth
stuff.
Yeah,
I want it to be close to the original. You know.
Yeah. So the reason I stopped playing it was that whole Midgard section is so linear and fun, and then it spits you out into the open world, and I was just like, "What? Where do I go?
What do
like if anything, just someone add quest markers or a quest log like to that game. It desperately needs it. I did look up the twin pack here. It is Final Fantasy Remake and Remake Integrate, which is the PS5 version of Remake.
That is Remake plus the DLC.
Plus the DLC. So it's that plus Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for $100.
Oh, okay.
That's not bad. I mean, that's $30 for the original.
Pretty good.
I know. I'm really, I'm honestly really considering it if I play the games this way.
Let's do it.
I think it's a good idea. I think it's a genuinely good idea.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying that, David. Do you want to talk about the other games on your list?
Sure. One good, one bad. I'll start with the one that didn't go great, and that's Penny's Big Breakaway. Penny's Big Breakaway is a pretty new.
It looks cool.
It does look cool. It's a pretty new 3D platformer from the team that made Sonic Mania. I was very excited for this game. You don't get too many good 3D platformers outside the Mario games these days. A lot of people don't touch them because they're competing with Mario. And so I thought I'd give this one a try, and I gave it a good 2 or 3 hours of playing, got through like world 4, I think, of the game. And it is just I'm not jiving with it. It is, if you're a 3D Sonic sicko, you would probably like this game. If you're looking for,
A Bubsy sicko.
Is it like the feel? Does it feel good?
It doesn't feel right, and it's one of those. It might be a me thing. Like I'm not saying it's gonna feel bad for everyone because I know people that it does feel good for and they like. It's a 3D platformer where sickos? You do not control the camera. They're Sonic sickos. That's why I said
you don't control the camera.
So exactly, you don't control the camera. It's automatic based on where you're at.
That, right?
Like
3D World, you barely controlled the camera.
Yeah, you don't control this one at all. Period. Not even a little bit. Which I don't hate, but there are certain sections where like I'm like, if I could turn the camera literally 1 degree, I could see what the fuck I'm doing. Why is this a thing? Gotcha. So there's some areas like that. Visually, I do not like how this game looks, and that didn't help me. The main character's design is, I think, one of the worst I've seen in a long time. As much as the whimsy of the game is kind of cool, and just the platforming feels a bit off. It doesn't. I don't know how to explain it other than it doesn't control how how my brain thinks it should control. And again, that might be my brain chemistry thing, but it's not. The controls aren't working. There are these penguins that are in a lot of the levels that chase you all the time. You cannot kill them. And if one of them gets onto you, you slow down. And like the more that get onto you, the slower you go. And then eventually you get captured and like you lose a life. And I do not find that fun. I don't like being chased by shit in any video game. So having these in like half the levels and they're incredibly annoying, just kind of, it brings a game where it's like I want to go fast and do platforming, and there's all these things that are making me go slow. And I'm like, I don't like, just let me go fast because that's the fun part.
Because I hate Sonic.
And don't play this game. If you do not like 3D Sonic games, do not play Penny's Big Break.
Yeah. But that was the thing, was everybody's talking about how fucking good Sonic Mania was. And I didn't play it because I don't like Sonic games, but it was cool to see a studio come in and do Sonic right, kind of from the outside. And I was like, good for them. Let's see what they make next. And then they make something that is not Sonic, which makes me more excited.
It's Sonic.
And now I'm upset because it feels like it's depressing.
Yeah, I'm sad about this one. I rarely put games down once I pick them up, even if they're bad. I usually force myself through them. But
even after like 3 hours?
Usually. Depends how long they are. If it's a 60-hour game, no. But if it's like a relatively short indie game, like if it's a 6-hour game and I get to 3 hours and I'm like, I'm not vibing with this, I'll usually still finish it out. But this one, it just doesn't feel good. I'm like, no. I picked it up to fill in my time before Final Fantasy VII, and I was like, you know what? I'll just watch TV instead, is what I got to.
Makes sense.
And then the last game on my list that I did enjoy a lot is Lil Guardsman. And I don't know if either of you know about this game, but this is basically...
I only know about it because there's this group called Save Data, and they won't shut the fuck up about it.
It's true. It's good.
A slobber.
Apparently it's good.
So the other Save Data folks played a demo of this Steam Next Fest like almost a year ago, I want to say. Saw it and I was like, oh, this is Fantasy Papers, Please, but funny. And that's really what it is. Like, it's Fantasy Papers, Please, but funny. You can do a ton of it's just good comedy dialogue in a video game that's really well written, and I feel like that's pretty hard to find. Like, it's rare that I play a video game that makes me like audibly laugh out loud alone in my room, and this one does. Like, I think usually that's reserved for like Tim Schafer games and like a couple others here and there. And this is one of those, a couple others. The writing genuinely great. Some of the programming genuinely not great, but like it didn't matter. I was still having a really fun time. The characters are interesting. The dialogue's interesting. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the world. You get a bunch of fun tools that you can use to interact with characters that are hilarious. Shout out to Stabatha. She's like basically the Halloween killer who like just shows up to your door and you have to like figure out how to get rid of her. because she's literally she's literally a murderer trying to get to a summer camp to murder the other camp counselors. Like it's hilarious.
Wild.
There's ghost finders in this instead of Ghostbusters, and they've never found a ghost. It's great. This game is funny as shit. It's genuinely just super funny. If you want a good laugh, play some Little Guardsmen. It's also a great Steam Deck PlayStation Portal game, like 10 out of 10 for that. It's perfect for it.
Nice.
Dope. I'll add it to the wish list. Maybe I bet we could stream it, probably, Ian, and be the first people to stream it. That'd be great. We could play it.
Yeah, I don't think.
I mean, you can just watch the save data playthrough, you know. Or
I've never heard of them.
No, we'll
YouTube.com/save data team. I'm not even on it. Like,
we could do Little Guardsmen with an actual guard.
And I was like, "That's funny. I'm gonna buy this and play it." And then I was like, "Oh, you know, this is really good. Yeah, I get why they're having a good time."
Yeah, I'm excited to play it.
On to me. That's me. I'm the last one. Balatro. I've been playing. Helldivers 2. I've been playing a lot. We played.
I forgot to put that on my list.
We played a little bit yesterday. David jumped in on the last like 15 minutes because we did a defense mission and then we just sat around and let the clock run and more robots showed up. And the funny thing is we ended up with less XP because we had no time left over. But at least we were hanging out and just shooting robots. It was really fun.
Y'all weren't even looking for samples until I showed up and I was like, hey, did you look for samples yet?
No, don't start with me. I had 2 samples on me because I went and found samples and then the other guys and then I died in that fiery pit. We played on Friday night. It was super fun. The giant laser in the 120 had it out for David. To a comical sense, I'm convinced that Game Master who works for them was specifically targeting David because it was so funny every time you got shot.
I died like 8 times and only to teammates.
Yeah, there was one moment where Jake shot a guy I was about to shoot with the autocannon. The robot falls down, the autocannon shoots and hits David right across from it. It was incredible. It's a very fun video game. I like Helldivers 2 a heck of a lot.
It's very good.
It's very, very good. I also played on Game Pass A Little to the Left, which is a puzzle game where you are organizing things. There's also like a cat who messes things up a couple times. It's fun. I think the coolest thing it does is there's multiple solutions to puzzles. So there's more than one way. And I don't know if this is for every puzzle, but there's more than one way that the items can be sorted. And you kind of notice it as you're playing. You're like, oh, that's weird that the fact that I sorted these items by type and not color, it passed the level. And then you realize if you go back, you can sort it by color and all this different stuff.
That's kind of like unpacking, where they have certain criteria where they're like, you can't put your DVDs on the couch. They need to at least be on the entertainment center or in the bookcase, but you can put them pretty much anywhere in there.
I just played that a few weeks ago too for the first time. It was a great game.
Fantastic.
So it's very similar to that, very similar vibes. This game's fun. I don't think it's quite like, it didn't blow me away or anything. Also, almost all of the achievements are like playing the daily mode, which kind of like turned me off. It's like, why are you, it's not all of them, but it's a bunch of them. And I was like, why are you tying it to me playing this game every day? But overall, the puzzle variety was cool. The art was really well done. The cat stuff, like messing up occasionally, was really cute. There were a couple sections of puzzles that I thought were a little obtuse, to use a word, and it was just kind of weird, the solutions that they wanted you to go for. But I think, like, looking back on it, I think there's a way to figure it out, but I was just kind of annoyed. The hint system is nice because you click on hint and it just shows a note page that has been scribbled over, and then you can erase the hint. So if you just need a part of it, you could just erase a little section to like get your brain flowing.
Cool.
Which I think is cute. But yeah, overall, very cute game. It's on Game Pass. Well worth it to just download it. I played it on PC.
Thank you.
I think it's also on Xbox. It controls well. Great little puzzle game. And then finally, I finished up Minish Cap. It is the game that took me through 6 hours of the jury duty room the other day.
Nice.
And I played a bunch of that, and then today I was like, I knew I was close to the end, so I just sat on the couch and put YouTube on and just played through the rest of the game. That final boss sucks, and I hate it, and he sucks, and he sucks. There's like, between the last save, you fight 3 like heavy duty guys that you have to jump over them and slash them in the back. Then you fight the first phase of the boss, then you fight the second phase of the boss, then you fight the third phase of the boss, and there's like barely any health anywhere. It's funny, and I'm annoyed, but the run where I finally was like, let me use save states is the run I made it all the way through on. So I was like, pissed off.
That's how it usually goes. That's how it usually goes.
Yeah. So I beat it legit, which is
all you
sucks.
needed was that sense of safety, so that you could just be your full power. You just need that sense of safety. You're good.
Yeah. So it's a good game. It was a fun Game Boy game. Now I've been obsessively comparing JRPGs over the past day and a half to figure out which one I wanted to play next.
Is it Tails time, Will? Is it Tails time?
Is it Tails time? I was thinking that's on the short list. There's also Breath of the Wild. No, Breath of Fire 4, which people say is really good.
Yeah.
And I started up on the. I got my Mister working again just for JRPG, and I fired it up on the Mister, and it looked really rad. And then the other one was it's a tactical JRPG, which is Shining Force. And I was like, maybe I'll do Shining Force, but I'm also currently playing Fire Emblem for the stream series, and I don't want to get 2 tactical games confused and like what the mechanics are. Okay. So I think I'm going to put that on hold. So shortlist is Breath of Fire 4 and Tales. It's not. I want to say Tales of Arise, but that's only because I just saw it on Game Pass.
That's the new one. If you want to play
Tales of Symphonia.
Symphonia's
that's the good one. They say.
Honestly, most of the ones from Symphonia on are at least good to okay.
Decent.
Don't play Zestiria. That's the only one that I don't think you should play.
I think it's like I found this YouTube channel that was like going through like, here's 10 cozy JRPGs, here's 10 that are short, here's 10 that do this, and I was watching through those to like, because I didn't realize so many people use JRPG to mean tactical turn-based, not turn-based. Like I didn't realize it included all those. So like
it's a big bucket. Yeah.
Yeah. I just always thought of it as like Dragon Quest JRPG. That's what a JRPG is, but it includes a lot more games. So branching out into that and being like, oh, maybe like I'll stomach a couple hours of a JRPG to see if I like it, and test the waters of that. So. But if Final Fantasy Remake might throw a wrench in that.
If the latter half of this year stays empty, I'm hoping to play some like Atelier, Riza, or like Trails of Cold Steel, because those are ones that everyone's like, these are such good JRPGs, and I just haven't touched them.
Yeah, there was a surprising amount that people were recommending, and I was like, oh, these like look rather decent for
even
older
the new Grand Blue Fantasy Relink looks pretty good, and I played it at PAX last year, and it played pretty well.
Oh,
and that one's short. That one's only like 25 hours.
Which I own on Xbox, but I think it was free at one point, is Lost Odyssey, which is like the 360 one. I was like, maybe I'll play that.
I missed that one because I didn't have a 360.
And that's by some Final Fantasy people, right?
I think so.
So maybe I'll check that out. Anyways, I can see Ian's getting board of the JRPG talk. And Jesus is looking bored too. So we'll move on here from... but also shout out to the Minu Mini Plus for all the hours at Minish Cap. That thing's a rock star and resumes games so perfectly, and I love it so much. Time for the news. Ian Gibson has gone around the world asking all the pretty reporters for their news, and he has a lot of...
I'm not allowed to do that. I'm not allowed to do that
restraining
anymore.
orders against him now, so he ended up using the internet to find the news. Ian, tell me of the news this week. I haven't looked, but I'm sensing we're on an uptick here.
Yep, that's right. Great news, everybody. More layoffs in the industry. Let me run through this week's victims. British game maker Supermassive has laid off 90 workers. Sony has laid off about 900 PlayStation employees, including shutting down the entire London studio. EA laid off around 670 workers and has canceled several titles, including, I believe we talked about this last week or the week before, Respawn's Mandalorian first-person Star Wars game. And Embracer Group is divesting themselves of Saber Interactive, which they purchased recently, and it looks like Gearbox and Borderlands Studio may be on for sale as well. I think a lot of the discourse this week, look, let's face it, layoffs are boring because they're happening too often now. What's that line from Andor?
Layoffs are boring. That's it.
No, he says it's easier to hide behind 50 atrocities than one. And the problem is we're now starting to get stale, all the layoffs that happen repeatedly.
Yeah, I mean, like, there were 10,000 people got laid off last year in the industry, and that was all of 2023, and we're at like 8,000 already, if not more, after this week. And we're
gonna break the record, everybody.
February, y'all. It's February.
Yeah, it's messed up. I'm up to 3 people that I know of who have been impacted by these. 2 this week who worked at Gorilla and moved to Europe several years ago from the US to work at Gorilla.
At Gorilla, yeah.
Yeah, and they were both impacted, so it's fucked. I think the discourse though has kind of moved. I don't want to say moved beyond the layoffs, but the discourse now is about a possible crash in the video game industry, in the video game market, publishers, AAA studios, etc. You guys been following this discourse on Twitter?
I was a little bit. Mostly Jeff Grubb started a thread and then a bunch of people replied, right? This is most of this.
Yeah, that was kind of one of the first ones, but I think Jeff Grubb, I wish I had Jeff Grubb's. I think I do, don't I? No, I don't have Jeff Grubb's. But Jeff Grubb was basically saying it's not a fucking video game crash, people, because sales in the industry are up 4% year over year compared to last year. Like, video game sales are continuously growing. This is not a video game crash. There are certain parts of the market that are, I wouldn't say crashing, but that are not meeting estimations, notably AAA and quadruple A games in particular. But at the end of the day, these studios and these publishers are making more money than ever. They are just choosing to lay people off to cut costs to pad their bottom line even more.
It's they're making more money, but between inflation and increased cost of having employees, like, making more money also kind of doesn't mean as much. And the biggest thing is it's not growing like it was. I think who was it? Phil Spencer said that it was the industry grew like 1 or 2%, which, hey, that's still growth. That's not a bad thing. But with how much inflation's been going up, a 1 or 2% is not enough. So,
but it's also comparing it to the COVID years, which had completely irregular growth in the industry, and that was not sustainable. Everybody, and it's funny listening to Jeff Gerstmann because he goes fucking wild on this, where he's like, "You're a fucking idiot if you thought the COVID years were going to continue." And he's been saying that since the COVID years, when all of a sudden everybody was playing video games, and it's like, no shit, they're at home all the time. Of course it's not going to be like that. That's not the new normal. And a lot of these studios hired up based on that.
I also think a lot of them knew that, hired people anyway. And because like a lot of it's capitalism, y'all. People, it's capitalism, y'all. A bunch of companies have said that layoffs are a lever they pull to stay more profitable. So like, when they needed more people during COVID, whether they're a live service games company and they needed more people to continue cranking out content, or they're making single player games and they're like, hey, we need to get our games out during this insane craze of people buying more games than they ever have ever. After that's gone, they're just going to pull a lever and a bunch of people are going to get laid off and be unemployed.
Yeah. But part of this is also, part of this is also, this is happening more in tech than it is in video games. But I think some of these studios are doing this for this reason, which is, it's not about we have to make up because of low profit. It's not about we can get additional profit by laying people off. It's about, hey, we have 5,000 employees and we make 10% profit, you know what looks better? 10% profit with 4,000 employees. Like if we lay people off and we have less people, but we make the same amount of money, that's showing the market that we're efficient, right? And then, oh, guess what? The market fucking buys it because they're idiots. So you do a layoff, like Microsoft, Facebook, Apple were doing this, etc. They do a layoff and the stock price fucking jumps because they go, oh, holy shit, they made so much money last year and they didn't even need these extra people. That's why they're laying them off. And it's all just fucking games at that level. It's all just straight fucking capitalist bullshit, quite frankly. And the people that suffer are the workers. And it sucks. It sucks.
I cannot stress harder that my views do not reflect those of my employer, but like,
well, of course not.
Particularly in the live service space. Shut up, Will. we know you don't have one right now. But like the live services and during COVID, this is a personal theory of mine. During COVID, live service games were going insane, right? To the point where Sony invested like hundreds of millions of dollars into making a bunch of new ones because it was going nuts during COVID. I think a lot of these companies were trying to capture an audience during the COVID years that would then continue with them post-COVID years. And I think they kind of fucked around and found out a little bit of like, yeah, some of those people, they did acquire those users and they're not leaving, but a lot of other ones, they're like, oh, we can go outside now, and they're spending less money. The economy for individual people, I don't think, is doing great right now, so I think they're probably spending less money. And there's still whales that are padding for that and making up for it. But it takes a lot of employees to keep a live service game and the content that you need for a live service game these days chugging along. So my personal feeling is that a lot of these companies, their live service games are going to start to peter out because they're laying off these workers and will not be able to support putting out content at the rate they were before. And so they'll shed their people to other games. Hey, there's probably a ton of them going to Helldivers right now because Helldivers is the new hotness. And will Helldivers keep all the people? Probably not. Frankly, they probably won't keep them for forever. Yeah, that's just not how live service works.
Yeah, and I think overall for the state of the industry, if I can put the layoffs to the side, I think what's happening right now is healthy in a way for the industry, because what's being impacted, what's being canceled, what's being shown as a bad trend, it's shitloads of microtransactions, it's live service games, it's AAA and quadruple A titles that are trying to chase trends from 3 years ago when they were in pre-production, etc. And what's going to profit from all that, collapse at the top are the indies. Like, indies have been better than fucking ever year after year after year these last 5 or 6 years because they're innovating. They're able to deliver on a small concept with less risk. And then meanwhile, you've got fucking Skull and Bones. You got Justice Squad, where it's just the publishers and the giant fucking devs that are losing out. Like they just lost so much fucking money on that. Meanwhile, we got Balatro just came out and it's killing. Helldivers 2 came out, it's killing.
I think the only reason I don't agree with that is the primary talking point out of DICE this year was survive, and that none of the indies are finding money from anyone to do
that's
that.
Fair.
So all of these people that were working at AAAs are now freed up to potentially go to a AA or indie studio, but like
they're not getting funding.
There's no money to fund a new indie studio right now. No one's opening up their pocketbooks. So I think it's just going to be a shitload of people leaving the industry, and it's not the giant number layoffs are coming from the places that have a bunch of live service games. But like on here, Supermassive's on here. They don't make live service games. They make Until Dawn narrative games and Little Nightmares and stuff like that. Wasn't on our list, but Deck 9, who did the last Life is Strange True Colors game, which was a great Life is Strange game, good game. They laid off 20% of their workers, and their C-suite took pay cuts and stuff. So it's not just the live server people that are suffering. It's just those are the most visible because number big. And there's been indies that have shuttered too. Little Guardsman that I mentioned earlier, their publisher Versus Evil shut down like weeks before they released.
Damn.
And they're just like, at this point, we're fine because the game's so close to release, we can tough it out and get money from sales. But like, if that had happened earlier and they couldn't get a publisher, the game probably wouldn't exist anymore. And that just fucking sucks. And I imagine there's a lot of other places that are in that predicament right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, I mean, I just hope a year, 2-3 years from now, stop fucking making AAA games. I know that's a crazy statement to make. I don't fully believe it, but
make AAA games, just narrow the scope down.
I don't know about that. Because that's like just making solid 7s. I would much rather have, instead of
Alan Wake,
200 million
2.
But Alan Wake wasn't AAA.
Alan Wake 2 is absolutely a AAA game. You're insane if you don't think so.
I don't think it. What was the budget on it? Because my point is, I would much rather have 4 $50 million games than one $200 million game.
I agree with that. And like Spider-Man 2 was like 300 million or something from the leaks.
Yeah, and that
Last of Us Part 2.
That game's
zero
fucking,
of those.
that's a fucking vanilla 8 out of 10, right? Like, I stopped playing that after like 3 hours.
But yeah.
I was like, this is the third fucking game you've made like this. Are you gonna make something new now? You know.
Cheapers.
Anyways, we do have some good news though.
Good.
Toys for Bob is going indie. Did you guys see this news? It's kind of wild. Kind of wild. Previously of Activision, then of Microsoft. Now they're going indie. They're spinning off. They're known for Skylanders, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, Crash Bandicoot, the latest Crash Bandicoot. I think this is kind of some good news. I don't know if this is exactly what happened. It's definitely what's happening with Embracer, where it feels like one of the ways that these big guys are trying to save a little bit of money is taking these successful studios and trying to sell them out or to let them be indie. And it feels like Toys for Bob, they were able to make a deal here where instead of shuttering them or cannibalizing them, they were able to just say, hey, how about you buy your way out and go somewhere else, right? Like, keep doing what you're doing, but you can't do it here. And that's probably better than the other options we've seen, right?
Yeah, I'm just glad the whole studio didn't shut down, because I know during the layoff day last month, there were rumors going around that the entire studio shut down, but it was like, oh no, the office is gone, but everyone's going remote now. I was like, oh, okay. Which, as someone that's in that organization, felt weird that they would be okay with that. So this decision makes that previous decision make a lot more sense. Like,
they knew it was coming.
Makes significantly more sense now. It's like, oh, that's why they did that. Okay, that makes sense.
Speaking of which, do you think
looking forward to this.
Do you think Jim Ryan knew what was going to come when he visited London studio last week?
1,000%.
Less than a week before they shut that studio down, he absolutely fucking.
They knew last year they were going to shut it down.
He's not.
So part of me is like,
March 2024 is when he's out.
He's still around.
End of fiscal year is when he's
March is tomorrow.
The announcement for the layoffs had his fucking name on it. It wasn't someone else.
So he was in the know. Okay.
Yeah, and they knew
it is scummy.
And that's part of like year planning. So he's known for a while.
Yeah. I just thought it almost feels like a Veep moment where they're like, Jim's leaving. Let's go make him do the studio visit. You know.
Well, and I think they're making these decisions before he leaves on purpose, so that the new whoever comes in after him doesn't immediately do layoffs and everyone hates them.
Yeah, they'll do it anyways. They just don't know that. They don't know the new guy's going to do it.
It was going to happen regardless, but like, at least Jim Ryan eats it and then retires, and the new person can come in with like a clean bill of health and be like, hey, that sucked, right? Let's be a family and make this right. Yeah.
I'm sorry their salaries went to his golden parachute. What an asshole, right? Oh, same board though.
I like to hike. Here are pictures of my kids.
Yeah. I'm excited for what Toys for Bob does next though. Because like Crash 4, I don't know if either of you played Crash 4. Crash 4 was really good. It was really good. Like,
they did the Insane trilogy, right?
No, that was Vicarious Visions.
Oh, that's who I was. Thank you. That's who I was thinking of this whole time. Okay, now this makes a lot more sense.
Toys for Bob did Crash 4 and Skylanders, and they did the Crash Team Rumble, I think was the recent one, which also they did a good, like, just cool move. That game's, they're basically in March they're like, hey, no more updates for this game, presumably because the studio that was working on it's now going outside of Activision / Microsoft. So they're like, hey, we're releasing a 500 tier battle pass that's just free. It has like 100 items on it. It's basically everything we were working on, we're just giving to you. It's free. Play the game. The servers are going to stay up for at least a little while. Have fun. Peace. We're out. Which I think is just, it's a cool way of doing that. I'm happy they did it.
Other good news, Remedy has acquired the full rights to the Control franchise from 505 Games. This was a little weird. It was something I had to keep reminding myself, which is that Remedy did not own the full rights to Control. Probably part of, getting the sweeter publisher deal is we'll split rights, etc. But as part of this whole industry, quote unquote, crash and fire sale, feels like Remedy was probably able to make a sweet deal here and get the rights back. So good to see. A little bit less oversight for a game studio that probably needs no oversight so they can make even crazier games in the future.
Yeah, I'm really happy for them because the only thing that they've made that's not theirs now, I think, is Max Payne. Because
Max Payne 3.
They bought the rights for Alan Wake from Microsoft. Now they got the rights from Control from 505. So the only thing that's left is Max Payne. And I don't think Rockstar is going to let go of Max Payne, especially since they're working on a remaster or remake for Rockstar. But I'm happy Remedy has it. Because even Alan Wake 2, they couldn't use Max Payne. They had to make up a person's name, different name for the guy who was clearly Max Payne. But they're like, no,
he's legally
Sam
distinct Alex Casey.
Yeah, legally distinct Alex Casey. So I'm happy for him. I hope Control was fun. I hope Control 2 is even more wild.
And Codename Condor, I'm looking forward to as well.
That's the co-op one, right?
That's the co-op one. That's the one with the concept art is them sitting in a waiting room bench, right?
With different gear on.
Yeah, with a bunch of different gear on. So I think you're the SWAT team of the Federal Bureau of Control.
Probably Ghostbusters.
Okay, that could be cool. That could be cool.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Let's continue the good news trend because we got all the bad news out of the way. Do you guys remember UFO 50?
Yes.
Will, what was UFO 50?
It's the Spelunky. I read a little bit of this, but I already knew it. It's the Spelunky guy. I think Derek Yu got a bunch of developers to make mini games for this. I believe it's 50 game collection of aren't they NES inspired or SNES inspired?
50
or it's just different games.
Kind of.
They're 8-bit.
Yeah.
8-bit games.
And so this was announced, man, this has got to go back at least to 2019, probably further back than that. But it really is. It feels like let's take a bunch of great indie devs. They're each going to make their own little game and we're going to throw it all together and give you 50 of them. And I've been excited for this since it was announced. It feels like the perfect game to dive in. If you find at least 3 games in here that you love, it'll be worth it.
The article says 7 years, so it was 2017.
Yeah, if you click on that hot minute, it says 2019, and then it says this game was announced way back in 2017.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I'm excited for this. But anyways, UFO 50 will release in the second half of 2024, according to the Spelunky creator who's kind of leading up the project. Actually, the fucking there's images in the article that say coming 2018. So I'm excited for this.
There's a full-blown JRPG Grimstone, car shoot 'em up Seaside Drive, pinball golf game Pin Golf, sci-fi horse racer Quibble Race, and Campanella 2, the proc gen platformer sequel to Campanella 1, which is also another game in UFO 50.
God, yes. So there's a game and a sequel in UFO 50.
Fuck?
That's amazing.
This is gonna be fucking great.
Oh, I'm so excited.
It's gonna be amazing.
Oh yeah, the announcement trailer does say coming 2018. Holy moly.
Yeah. The only thing is, okay, look, I'm gonna say something here. It's gonna be selfish. What was it? What was that fucking game? Gordy and the Monster Moon? Was that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that came out. That was a Pico 8 game. So I was able to I was able to put that on my little knockoff Game Boy emulator console and play that in bed, and it was great. I want to do that with UFO 50. I want to put that on a tiny console, not even like a Steam Deck, just put it on a tiny console. It's just a wish. It's probably not going to happen, but I would love to be able to put this on something tiny and play it like that. But I'm definitely looking forward to this. This looks like fun.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm rewatching the trailer right now, and all these games look awesome. Oh, there's a dungeon crawler. Oh, break out the grid paper, everybody.
Yes.
Oh, no.
I'm so excited.
Quick hit, folks. There is a Discworld tabletop role-playing game in the works by the studio behind the Fallout War games. Will, are we going to play this?
I mean, yeah, we can. I don't think we're British enough, but we can try.
It's very British. It's
Is
very
Discworld
British.
Terry Pratchett or Brandon Sanderson or
Terry
whatever his
Pratchett.
name is? Okay.
It's very,
Brandon
very
Sanderson.
British humor, fantasy world.
Oh yeah, Sanderson's a Mormon. He's from the U.S. Never mind.
No, but he did help finish. What did
Wheel of
he
Time.
help with?
Robert Jordan.
Wheel of Time. That's the other one. Yeah, so he's been writing Wheel of Time books. Yeah, so that could be cool. And then finally, the happy news for this week: Pokemon Legends ZA has been announced.
Name.
Guys, is that? I didn't even watch it. Is that how you pronounce it, or is it like Z Alpha?
It's,
thought it
it's
was
ZA,
ZA.
I think. It's either
ZA?
ZA or Z Alpha, but
Plaza.
it's not clear because they don't say it.
What
That-
is?
honestly-
I don't know anything about it. What is luminosity? What's?
Oh, so Pokemon Legends Z is going to take place in the main city from Pokemon X and Y. That's why it's Pokemon Z. X Y Z. Huh?
So there
Check
flies
your
down.
zippers.
Okay.
Yeah, check your zippers. So it's like a new Pokemon Legends game takes place in that city that I think's based off of Paris, if I remember correctly.
Ugh.
But it's like
Disgusting.
all gonna take place in this one giant city from the sounds of it, compared to Legends Arceus, which was like taking place
Yeah.
super far past. They didn't show anything for it, just kind of like the name and where it's taking place. But
Yeah.
Can we talk about what they didn't say, but what they did say?
they said simultaneously. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
No.
I was very confused by
Oh.
that.
Oh, you think? Okay. See, I took that to mean there's two different games here. There's a Pokemon Legends Z and a Pokemon Legends A. But the timing 2025
No.
to me means this is a Switch 2 title.
I think this is a Switch 1 and 2
and
title,
2
yeah.
title.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, because the advertisement, I literally got an ad on Instagram that said releasing simultaneously in 2025, and I went, "Is that a Switch 1 and 2 reference?" I didn't even think of there's a Z and an A, which I
Yeah,
guess could make
like,
sense, but
I think they're trying to say like they mean like it's releasing worldwide at the same time, but like haven't all of the recent Pokemon games
yeah.
done
So
that?
I don't know why they would point that out.
No, but well, okay, so there's three things going on here, right? It's either a fuck up and it's a Switch 1, Switch 2, or they're saying same time worldwide, or it's two games. It's Pokemon Legends Z or Pokemon Legends A.
Yeah,
Oh,
I can
that problem is-
honestly see any of those being it.
I can see any of it. It's
You know,
probably
I
not the
will
Switch
say-
2 fuck up.
I
'cause
hope
that's-
it's not the
yeah,
last
too
one.
obvious.
Just I hope it's just not the last one.
Because I'm getting Z. Pokemon Legends Arceus, I really enjoyed as someone who's played like 4 Pokemon games. And so I really like the innovation of it and the stuff they did with it. And I did kind of like the setting and the old timey stuff. So if they're doing that again with this game and it's good, I'm all for it. Hopefully they've learned their lesson from everything, but that's probably not true. They haven't learned any lessons.
If it is simultaneously releasing on Switch 1 and 2, you know it's going to run horribly on Switch 1.
Yeah.
It's, honestly, it will probably run horribly on both, to be quite honest with you.
You're probably right. It's probably just going to be a trash fire. But
Maybe
like,
it'll come to the Wii U.
yeah.
We put it on the Wii U.
Yeah,
it's gonna
do
be
it.
one of these little happy dumpster
that
fire.
is a dumpster fire.
Yeah, dumpster fire.
Hi, Halucha. You get a customary shout out
Yeah.
on Local Jet.
So that's
okay.
it.
Looks
That's
fun.
it for this week's news. I hope we raised spirits a little bit with the good news at the end there.
Me too. Ian, you did have something on here that said secret news. What was that?
So earlier this week, Jeff Keighley let me in on an industry secret on Twitter.
Oh God!
When he promoted GameSent. And I was like, secret news. This will be great to talk about.
It didn't look like a promotion. It looked like him being like, here's what it is. Why does this exist?
No, it looked like him just being like, check out this cool thing. And it's like, oh, you idiot. Like, why are you giving that?
He posted a shrug emoji after it.
Oh, he may have. But the problem, it's not secret news anymore because I don't know what happened. And quite frankly, I'm happy about it, but I'm also a little upset about it, which is it feels like ever since the Game Awards, the most recent one, everybody started shitting on Jeff Keighley. And I'm upset because y'all should have been shitting on him for the last like 5 fucking years. Like, why did you just now recently?
With your Jeff Keighley hate.
And like when he posted GameSent, like people were living on Twitter. They're like, this is not your spokesperson. We should not be giving him a platform anymore.
To defend Jeff Keighley on this, the post was too long, so there was a show more button. That's where he fucked up. If you hit show more, it does all the thing, and then he literally just posts a shrugging emoji like, all right, man.
Yeah. Fucked up.
Yeah. So it was gonna be some secret news, but it honestly blew up too much. Yeah, we don't need to talk about it.
I love the DLC sense. Napalm, human exertion, ocean, and golf course.
I will say, apparently the way that it works, I don't know if you guys noticed this, the way that it works is actually kind of cool if it actually works.
It doesn't.
You plug in either your HDMI through it or just a sound output into it, and it detects by the audio being played if it's gunfire, an explosion, if it hears rain. And based on the sound, it determines what scent to go off of. And I'm like,
what do you think?
Smart.
What scent do you think it puts out if like you're watching porn?
A lot of sweat musk. What if there's just it cuts to someone shitting?
But it's kind of a cool thing because think about it, you don't have to link up to the content, you don't have to do deals or anything, you just have to make the software good enough to detect sounds, and then you can just have it play off fucking anything. So there's part of it where I'm like, I don't know if it works, but the tech sounds cool.
I was gonna say that's cool. I guarantee you it
What's the sound of baking bread and a cool crisp summer morning?
Well, it only comes with like 4 or 5 cents loaded, so
hang on.
No common sense.
Blood is coming
the
soon.
normal default sense are gunfire, explosions, racing. What the fuck does that mean?
Probably tires, burnt rubber.
Probably tires and gas.
And Dale's farts.
Storm and forest. Storm
like
and
rain
forest
and like leaves.
I love that rain's part of the base, but ocean is DLC.
I can't wait to go to Yankee Candle so I can get more cents for my game scent.
Okay, how much do you think the cartridges cost for this thing? I imagine
I know how much
printer ink.
I know how much it costs, and apparently it's been on sale for a while, according to Amazon. And I believe it cost it's either $150 or $159 for the base plus base cents. And
Extra
it's enough
Life
for me to be like Extra Life. I was thinking like I'll pay that much for a joke to do it at Extra Life.
Is it on Amazon? Is Google Game Cent? It's not there.
Yeah, I think GameSent. I saw it on Amazon because there were reviews from like September, so I think it's been out for a while. Honestly,
shop.
I already have a notes document for Extra.
Their SEO is real bad. GameSense not in the title of the fucking listing on Amazon.
Damn.
So I don't know what they did, but they got like a marketing pop this week, probably because of Jeff Keighley,
for sure.
Probably.
For sure.
Fucking idiot.
How much are the replacement cartridges? I need to know.
I think it was like
$5,000.
They're not listed. You can't
refill.
You can't refill it.
Wild.
They don't have them on their store.
In other news, more good news to finish off your week. I've purchased Final Fantasy Remake and Rebirth.
Hell yeah.
So I'm not going to be playing that now.
I'm sorry.
Breath of Fire 4.
It's fucking wild how many Helldivers 2 leaks there are now. I'm now watching a video of somebody driving a Warthog type vehicle. Like that shit is just leaking all over the place.
But they're not leaks though. They're the guy spawning them into missions, right?
Yeah, but no. I don't think it's the game master. This is all unannounced content. It's just there are people running around that have the ability to pop these in, either because they're hacking the game or they're on a test account or whatever.
The way I read into that article, because he was saying it allows them to assign random stratagems to random players. So I assume that's what they were just doing.
But they would not like assign unreleased content like the mech or the warthog type thing I'm looking at. No.
Oh, I assume that's what they would do.
That's because you should pop that off in marketing. You shouldn't just shadow drop that in a game. I think these are people. But it's not
shadow drop. It's just one person has it to like spread the rumor of it. You know.
It's not a rumor if I'm watching video of it. You know.
Yeah. I mean, who's expecting the person to be recording their video?
It's not Joel. I'm pretty sure it's not. It's not the game master. These are not intentional. These are people that have hacked the game or have test accounts, and other people end up in their game and they're like just dropping new content, and then that leaks in videos. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still looking at the game sense stuff. And
he's going.
It's not. I thought it was like combining sense to like create sense. It's not. There's just a race car scent.
Yeah, it's stupid.
That it shoots out.
I thought it was AI generating sense.
Yeah, I thought it was like taking like 15, 20 different scent things and like combining them to make like the right thing.
Is that even? Out. Do we even have that technology?
We have the technology
on the fly.
I'm sure you could. If you, yes, in short, yes, you could do that. I don't know how many of those little vials you would need, but you could do that.
But I just mean, have we, like, I know it's technically possible, but has somebody actually invented that in a way that it works, that you could live mix smells?
I don't know.
Because that sounds cool, honestly.
It's not a thing
I mean, after Taco Bell, I can live mix any smells you want. Damn.
Jeez. Gas.
Step on the gas. Thank you, Initial D. Folks, that's the news for this week. If you would like to submit news, then do something newsworthy. I don't know what to tell you. We're going to move on to the Wishlist Spotlight here. Wishlist Spotlight for this week, folks, is the BC Piezophile? Is that how you say that?
Piezophile?
Piezophile?
Piezo or piezo?
Piezo? Yeah. Piezoelectric, right? Piezophile.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So what is this? Is this a light? It's an organism that lives under elevated hydrostatic pressures.
Yeah, it is. The thing that sold me on this game is the screenshots of being inside a giant underwater mech with this huge cockpit and a bunch of screens and controls and caution and warning lights.
Nice.
It looks awesome. It's a first-person action horror game set deep underwater. Features a foreign ocean brimming with ambivalent environments, hazardous anomalies, and baroque ecosystems. I've never seen a more Jake Terrio-coded video game in my entire life. Hopefully you'll be able to catalog the sea creatures as well, and he'll blow his top. Check it out on Steam. We do this so people can wishlist games for developers. It brings them up in the Steam search algorithm and gets pops those like popular new feeds and stuff like that. So go check it out. BC Piezophile. Piezoelectric. Piezophile. Okay. Sorry. Every time I look at it, I want to say pie.
Say it differently.
So just looks like delicious pie. That's gonna do it for the show. David and Ian, thank you so much for being here. You both are beautiful and I love you. If you folks at home want to see more of delicious David, then you can head on over to Save Data. They're on YouTube and Twitter and Twitch. They do fun things, so go check them out. You can find our content at subpixelfilms.com. We'll bring you straight to our link tree where you can go buy this awesome Malevelon Creek veteran hat on our Redbubble. Or you could buy a shirt that says Subpixel. Someone did it just the other day. You can also buy this as a sticker too. It's cheaper. We will be back this weekend with some Helldivers 2, I think on Saturday, or maybe later on Sunday. And then next Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll be back with some Fired Emblem, going through Fire Emblem for the GBA. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you all next Local Chat. Bye.